Welcome, 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 everyone, to Two Guys in Hockey Talk. My name is Pawel the Cat, with my wonderful co-host Evan. Evan, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing really good. And again, you're still calling me wonderful. So obviously our conflict has been resolvable at least. Hey man, it's been an interesting week in the world of hockey.
Yes.
Everything you can think of from every level of hockey, every area of hockey, development, whether you're talking about coaching, managers, every league in the world. Like, I mean, it is insane the stuff out there. But very important that I do say that, just so you know, if you're following with us tonight, we have a jam-packed show. We're going to just let you know how you can follow us here in a moment. But we do have a guest on tonight. We forgot to advertise it last week because, man, I've been dropping the puck, not dropping the ball. This is a hockey show. I've been dropping the puck lately and trying to be on top. And our guest was good to remind me that he is on the show. Usually I'm the one chasing the guys down. So I'm looking forward to this interview.
I think we're just building up our repertoire where people are coming to us, so we appreciate it. But we are here every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We are on X. You can find Revan at RevanEv or myself at hockey_2. We are on Twitter, on YouTube, as well as Facebook. Go check us out. We love it when you subscribe and share and talk with us. All right, Evan, let's get to it without further ado. Tonight's guest headliner.
Guest headliner, brought to you by JR Web Design. Is your website stuck in the Stone Age? Well, you need JR Web Designs. They'll craft you a website that's as awesome as our show. Well, guys, tonight we want to welcome Trevor Neufeld. You can follow him on Calgary Flames coverage of the Hockey Hot Stove, as well as I met him on X, by the way. He's a wonderful guy to follow. Check out what he's got going. He's going to talk to us more about that. And he does the occasional piece, he says, for Calgary Hockey Now. We're going to learn more about that. But Trevor, thanks again for following up with me this week and making sure we made this happen tonight. Because we've been trying to get I don't know if just the last couple of years, it's hard to get Flames guys getting on the show. It's like they just don't want to talk in public.
I don't blame them. Thanks for having me on, guys.
We appreciate you coming on. So let's get down to business. So we knew Calgary was in kind of a retool rebuild mode. And there was kind of a dichotomy because last year they just barely made the playoffs by just a few points. Dustin Wolf had a crazy great year. So, of course, he gets his contract extension in the offseason. Looks like they have their goalie of the future. And he had a 910 save percentage despite a -13 differential. But right now they are 2-8-2. And one of the first wins was the first win against the Edmonton Oilers in that Battle of Alberta. Ooh. What can you kind of talk about this year, the expectation, what's going on behind the scenes, and what should Calgary Flames and the rest of the NHL expect?
Well, in terms of expectations, I think you probably would expect them to get a little bit better than last place. I think they're a better team than, just 3 wins, just a couple points on top of that. So I think that they had a really rough start. That had the schedule just stacked up in a certain way. They started with the back-to-back, then they played St. Louis, who's 8-0 against them in the last 3 years. So the whole Huska era, they haven't beat St. Louis. So it's it started like that, and it just kind of carried on. And now it's kind of gotten weird because now tonight is the silver stick game for Nazem Kadri, and it feels like they've put this game on a pedestal. So I expect more drama to come because, I don't think a Canadian market like Calgary really is chill about being in last place, even though a lot of people want that. I don't know. Dichotomy is a great word for it.
That's great. And we'll let Evan ask the next question, but it seems like Lost Trucker, who's joining in from us, is saying that she expects them, the Calgary Flames, to win the 2026 draft lottery. I'm sure that would excite a lot of fans, especially with the new arena. But go ahead, Evan.
Yeah, no, and what did she just say? I saw she had another.
They expect to win the next year's draft.
No, didn't she say something else too? I just thought.
Cool. Something about the new arena.
So we don't have any specific questions we were going to ask on that here, but if make sure that you hang on to that if anything comes up But anyway, let me get to my next second question, because it worked around what we talked about with Dustin Wolf. So, for example, starting 12 of 14 games, he carries this 3.63. He's got an 8.81, which is not Dustin Wolf. Now, of course, the team has these defensive woes that they're already kind of struggling through. Now, backup Devin Cooley, he's got 2 appearances. He has a .933 save percentage. And he had that great shootout gem, of course, against Ottawa. Now, why are they overworking Dustin Wolf already when Cooley could ease the load and kind of keep Wolf more fresh? I mean, it's not like they're going to win the cup this year. What are your thoughts on this?
I think Huska really wants a few wins in a row. I think he runs into that situation heading into games, and he's, we need this 2 points. We can't keep losing. We got to turn it a bit. We need Dustin to steal a game, but it's adding up. We aren't seeing the same Dustin Wolf in some of these games. He's, he might hold it up in the first, but he's gassed. And I don't know, there's the odd sequence where it kind of looks like he's recovering from something. He's down for a minute. The Flames don't push back a lot when they have guys crash in the net. They're, they got Joel Hanley just taking a beating. They could use some size. And they at least called up Yan Kuznetsov tonight. He's 6'4". He skates like a deer, as Brian Burke would say, and he hits. So that might be a step in the right direction. But
what happens to a deer with Brian's analogy? What happens to a deer when he sees headlights?
Oh, when he hits a truck. We'll find out, I guess, tonight. The game starts around 8.
So speaking of Ryan Huska, he just gets his extension. It looked like a good move on Craig Conroy's part. Now, I know fans of the Flames Nation, amongst people who follow the team, aren't very happy. They've seen some kind of interesting calls being made, like scratching Conazari, even though he's one of their better goal scorers. What do you make of him being kind of in that role? Is he the right guy to kind of get him out of this funk? Or is this something that will have to be readdressed maybe in the offseason next year?
I think he's the right guy because he started out as a developmental coach in the AHL. Well, I guess prior to that, he's in the dub. But once he take the next step, he was a developmental coach for years with, the Axar Ben Knights and, all of our AHL affiliates. He knows what he's doing with developing these guys. But with Zari, he's playing like he's just overthinking it a bit. He looks just like the Tasmanian devil out there. He's falling over constantly. His falling over per 60 is very high. It's probably around the top of the league. And I think the real conversation that people are just boiling about is Zane Prake. Okay. And why isn't he in the lineup? He's not in the lineup tonight. And I think he's quietly, the injury that he's playing through is a little more than people are saying. I think that'd be my guess as to why he's not playing as much, because he's got a lot of talent, but he's got 0 even strength points and 1 power play assist.
Yeah, and he did have that one play where he was, I believe, I forget the team, but he got knocked off his skates and he looked kind of like he got concussed a little bit. I think it was game 3 or 4. Didn't look good.
Yes,
I'm going to say, I don't know if it was the Flyers or the Montreal Canadiens, like one of the two, but
I think both, man.
Yeah.
He's getting rocked every few games.
Yeah, so and of course, like, it takes time to adjust, size and physicality, to that speed, because it is a fast game. We saw it recently. I think it was last night. People were in Nikita Zadorov's DMs for the hit he had on Schaefer. I mean, it was kind of the welcome to the NHL moment. Yeah, but what can you tell us about some of the other prospects that fans should really be excited for with the Calgary Flames and should keep an eye out for?
Well, number 1 is Matvei Gridin. He's gotten up to a point per game in the AHL as a 19-year-old. He is tearing it up down there. That's right. And it's a pretty cool story. Down in the AHL, they have Rory Cairns, who's 23, and this Gridin kid shows up after playing a couple games with the Flames. And they both just start going on a scoring derby. They're tied, and they're both just surging right to the top of the AHL. It's they're not there yet, but they're on pace to catch right up to the top. I think there's a guy in Pittsburgh, Danton Heinen, I don't know if he's a Pittsburgh guy actually, but yeah,
Yeah,
They're on their way.
Denton is. Yeah, I think that. Well, okay, let's come back for a sec here. I do want to come back to the Huska thing, but you were just mentioning about with Zane, and one of the interesting things, we talked about this, Pawel, right, all last year with Zane, and was he ready? And this, unfortunately, is not the CBA where they can select one 19-year-old, right? One player to go and play there. Otherwise, he could have maybe played, because he's in 100%. Between. Sam Dickinson, he just got passed. We're going to talk about him later on the show. But he took that one extra year. They sent him back. Because here's the thing. They're going to waste a year of his elite level contract. But is it worth him the way he produced on playing back in the O again this year? And so do you make it a development year? Do you rest him, give him more lessons? Because it's not a surprise. I see Flame fans being, we're a little worried about his defensive game. It's like, that's always been his game. It's like an Evan Bouchard, you take the losses. People forget Paul Coffey and Paul Reinhart way back in the 80s. It's just like they give up goals and they go help score goals or set up goals, right?
Good teams have those kind of guys.
Exactly. So, with their development, I mean, obviously it's some great. But here's a question, and maybe you can tie in that question right now that Zill was asking on our Lost Trucker there about the arena and give us some update. So, with the newest changes, okay, that we're seeing in the start of the season. Now we know he signed for 2 years. It's minimum 2 years for you're going to make those playoffs. I felt last year was an outlier. Wolf literally gave them 16 points, 8 games. I mean, easily last year. But also people, remember, Pawel, we talked about this. I always tell people, when you're a new goalie, people don't know you as well. Now it's like being a contender. They know you're a serious goalie, so you're going to get the best out of everybody, right?
Just like Sheelog's in Vancouver, and now he's in Pittsburgh, of course, but he came out of nowhere to help them to reach that Game 7 with Edmonton a couple of years back. Sorry.
Yeah, well, and no, you're right. Fan. Yeah. So, okay, so saying that, by the time the new arena is built, do you think Huska will take them into the new arena, or do you think at that time they make a change, unless he's doing something phenomenal? And then tell us a little bit about the arena before we go into our next questions.
I think that's a good question. I think that if the core of the veterans are still kind of sticking around, I think Huska will have a better chance, because I think that he kind of doesn't need to be like kicking garbage cans over, because he has a lot of accountability in the room. So I think if they don't completely dismantle, then I think Huska has a better chance of sticking around. But if they start selling guys off, and it could really snowball, and maybe Huska's not the right voice for that team if it's kind of a new team that's all learning new lessons and there's not much authority beyond just him.
Okay, and the new arena, what do you know? How's it going? What could you give fans an update about, so that maybe are not close or know a lot of the details that all Flame fans might know?
Shovels are in the ground. Yeah, it's popping up in a couple of years from now, and it's going to be pretty sweet. The Saddle Dome is great, and it's shaped like a saddle, so that's like hard to undersell how cool that is. And there's a lot of memories in there that are very cool. But the acoustics, they just blow. Edmonton just blows Calgary out of the water in terms of how loud the crowd is, because the arena is designed to just pump that noise back down. And I feel like that actually definitely affected the series that those two teams played each other. It seemed like they were just getting hammered with noise, whereas it seemed kind of quiet compared, even when the crowd was going nuts. So 100%. Yeah, I think that's going to be a big turn. It's in a couple of years, and I'm looking forward to it. Get a $15 beer by then. It'll be fine.
15 will be cheap for that point. But,
exactly.
We'll expect a 2027, 2028 arena opening. Is that kind of the plan?
I believe that's the case. Ryan Pike really follows that stuff really closely. I'd refer to him on it. But I'm looking forward to the new arena, and that's going to be a lot of fun.
Awesome. Well, speaking of current players, you mentioned Nazem Kadri, and he's a Stanley Cup winner. He's had great success. He's typically a second line center, although he's had to play more usual in this season. But do you see now past the 1,000-game mark that he potentially could be moved, given how many teams are in need of a 2C on their team, and he would fit that mold? Veteran, can battle. You hate to play against him, plays in the boards, makes plays, and he's a Stanley Cup champion. He's got the pedigree for it. Do you see him being moved by Craig Conroy?
If they keep losing, I think they're going to move him. He's got 6 points in his last 6 games, so he's holding up his end of the bargain. And Silver Stick Night's coming up, so I think he's going to get a couple more tonight. But if they sell him off, it's kind of in the air, because I know Frank Saravalli went on the air today and said, Conroy's not really fully sold somehow still when it's 3-9-2. He's not really sold still, which probably means management isn't or ownership isn't sold. But I think the green light is coming up pretty soon. I think a couple more losses here. They had kind of an easy stretch, but that's kind of turned now because Columbus doesn't look like an easy game anymore. I think a couple more losses does it.
Okay. Interesting. Now, do you think that he would fetch a first-round pick, maybe conditional, or do you think that would be too steep a price given his contract right now?
So I dug through that a couple days ago for a piece on the hot stove, and I was looking through precedent. What centers have been traded? There's kind of a Goldilocks situation. There's JT Miller. He's younger. He wanted to trade. That doesn't really fit. And so I went through all these. The closest I could get was Thomas Hertl. So he was, 5 years younger, but, there's retention on his salary, which was 6 more years. And that's about as complicated as it can get. So it ended up being 2 late firsts is what came back for Thomas Hertl, who has a bit of an injury history, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot to be said, but that would be I would expect close to the return that Kadri would get. Now, whether they move down and get a better pick because they lose Kadri, then
are you thinking that if the trade, again, we're speculating. We know that there's been discussion, but no teams have been really mentioned other than maybe no trades and stuff. So the question here would be, they would retain some and then get at least a first-round draft pick? Is that what you're thinking? Or
it better be. I'll say that. I think.
Well, how many? I haven't checked. How many years are left in his contract?
I think it's 4. I believe it's 4 more years here.
And what's his salary?
$7 million.
Yeah. Well, at the new prices, $7 million means absolutely nothing now.
Oh, it's nothing now. It's 2C money. Yeah. It started 1C money.
That gets you a third-line player now.
Yeah. Without a doubt.
Okay. Makes sense.
Well, speaking of some other moves, 2 I wanted to kind of pick your brain on is first Rasmus Andersson. There was so much chatter last season about him moving. I know Brad Treliving took a look, but he looks at everything. Of course, in Toronto, that familiarity, history, and of course, having a right shot defenseman there in Toronto, very needed. Although they have a plethora right now, -10. But also him. And I wanted to get your thoughts with the Olympics coming up. Do you think Mackenzie Weegar has a chance to potentially be invited to camp? Given that he did miss the 4 Nations, but he was up there with a lot of people's picks as being someone who should go. And again, barring injury or everything, do you think he makes it? So that's kind of a 2-parter there.
Mackenzie Weegar needs to pick it up. He's a statistical mess, but he's taken the worst minutes on a team that's they're all kind of screwing up in their own ways, taking turns screwing up, and Weegar is eating the worst end of it. Him and Matthew Coronado are on pace for about -82. So, yeah, Weegar's going to have to pick it up real hard, real soon. But he's good enough. He's a great defenseman, but not so far. He hasn't shown it.
Okay. And for Rasmus Andersson, do you think he moves, or are like the rumors now with Vegas true? Because I know they're in on everyone as well, or Toronto, or do you see him just kind of staying put?
I think he's almost went to LA this summer, and then he said he wouldn't sign in Vegas, so that was shot down. And Backlund says it's inevitable he's getting traded, and everybody's like, yeah, it's inevitable, and now it's just awkward. So but he's playing great, so it's fine.
Correct me, Trevor. So did you say that in Vegas he wouldn't sign, or in Los Angeles?
The rumor was that he wouldn't sign with Vegas long term, and then a deal with Los Angeles fell apart. I'm not sure whether that was relying on an extension there, but it's all rumors, so it's tough to say. But
so that was it's just interesting. I mean, and everyone loves speculation, so just depending what goes around. But I actually heard opposite, that he wasn't interested in a long-term deal, like going past this year with the LA Kings. And because it wasn't about money, and actually he wants to be Vegas, and that's kind of really the only spot, but Vegas doesn't have a place for him. So this will be interesting.
I see it.
Interesting around it. So yeah, no, I'm just.
I like that idea.
Well, I mean, Matt, if you're a Flames fan, you got to be disheartened to see all these Flames guys or guys you wanted in Calgary, and see them in Vegas. And Brad McCrimmon from Manitoba has taken them down to the no state tax Nevada.
Yeah, they got Hannafin down there. He's great. They got all these players. They're just sniping stars from across the league, and we get to be in their div and just watch them. It's insanity. That is a different beast from any other team in the league. I don't even. It's tough to say anything about Vegas. They are just a powerhouse.
Well, speaking of that,
they've gone in all year. I think their owner really believes like every year is our year. And I mean, what is it? 9th year in the league now, and they're still going strong and somehow find a way to make players like Marner now come over and find a big deal. Eichel resigns, of course, starting next year, and there's high expectations with that club. So
yeah, it's true.
Yes.
It's
how they make the cap work. I don't know.
So in the Wild West, well, that just shows you anyone that makes an excuse about caps, they're totally off the wall. You can make it happen. We've saw a lot of teams do it, right? Yes. So in the Wild West, this will be my last question, and then Pawel can do a wrap up. In the Wild West, what do you see this year? I'm considering this quite open per se, all the way through to the wild card. Who's your dark horse for the Pacific surprise this year? Is it the Flames mounting a wolf-led charge, or is it going to be another team that you see up and coming this season that could be a surprise for everyone?
Well, I think a few surprises have happened already. So we got Minnesota and St. Louis are right near the bottom with the Flames. So if that's a surprise already, I could see one of those two teams surprising again and finding their way back into the race. So that would be my bet for a surprise. But there's also Utah, which is a very strange team. They're boring until they're not. And they're playing very structured hockey, but they seem to just pull off like an elite level play at some point during this very boring game. No offense, Utah Mammoth fans, but I keep trying to watch and I'm like, when's the goal coming? And then I blink and there's the goal. And they have a great record. So maybe it's Utah and maybe it's either Minnesota or St. Louis pulling out of the dirt and finding a way. I'm not sure the Flames have it this year. That start, they just got kicked in the shin too hard. I'm choosing shin. But yeah, I'd say the Flames aren't the team, but Minnesota or St. Louis are the team that are going to pull out of this mess.
That's fair. I mean, St. Louis, you look at Jordan Bennington as the starting potential goalie. I know tonight has been bad, but Doug Armstrong being part of Team Canada, so most likely that's his guy. I guess I wanted to ask is there any other storylines you're kind of watching from around the league this year that's kind of interesting you, or just something that people should be following?
Well, I mean, Florida's in last place in the East right now. So that's something. They're only in last place by a single point, and they're like 2 points out of a playoff spot, but they're last place in the East. And I looked it up at this point in last year, they were in first place in the East. So I don't know. I'd like to see what Florida does. I know it's kind of, everybody's watching Florida now, but this is a different season. They got a different beast on their hands this year.
I believe that the moment they lost Barkov in that freak accident in the drill, that was a big loss for them. I'm not saying they can't come back from it, but him being out, that right there, I mean, the way he plays, next to Bergeron, he's the next Selke man up, right? I always thought that they needed him. And Matthew Tkachuk, of course, impactful player, but he's also out for 2 months.
Yeah.
But really, another year of Bob being 37, contract year. I worry that it's going to be hard it's always hard to three-peat, right? Mm-hmm. And they've already been to 3 cup finals. So let's not forget that they did go the first year versus Vegas. But
I can thank the Flames for that one.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Right. It's just it's been tough. I had one pro scout that's gone through the exact same injury say that bank on it. He'll be back in the last month or so. I think Barkov is back. But the question is, can they manage, and will Tkachuk get back in time, or will that injury take longer to heal? But I mean, guys like Anton have really stepped up though too. in spite of it. But I mean, hey guys, where's Bennett? Like you're going to Team Canada. I can't. Like I think he's lost his place right now on that place.
Now we're speaking my language. Where's Bennett? I've heard that before.
That's so awesome. All right, Trevor. Well, it's been a fun, dandy one. Thanks so much, you guys. We've had Trevor Neufeld. You can follow him over on X. You can check out all of his information. We have everything listed below. Maybe tell people what is, just before you go here, what's you write occasionally at Calgary Hockey Now, and what is the Hockey Hot Stove with the Calgary Flames, and what is it that you're doing so that they can have a better idea who you are and where they can go follow?
Okay, the primary source of my material coming out right now is the Hockey Hot Stove. It's an upstart little outlet right now that just started up. It's growing pretty quickly, so it's worth checking in. The best part about that site is you can go in and you'll genuinely catch up on any team. That's awesome. Yes, like so many websites, you'll stop in, you'll get a great story about some player, some team, but to catch up fully with a team, stop at the Hot Stove. Won't be disappointed.
Awesome.
That's
Got
great.
it.
Well, Trevor Neufeld on Twitter.
Sure, yeah. So people make sure you go check Trevor out on Twitter/X. Evan calls it X. I call it Twitter because
I like Twitter.
For me. But we appreciate you taking the time. We know you're a busy guy, so thank you so much for taking the time. We hope to have you back on the show again in the near future.
Sounds good.
Awesome, man. Keep your stick on the ice.
I'll try.
Guest headliner. Brought to you by JR Web Design. Is your website stuck in the Stone Age? Well, you need JR Web Designs. They'll craft you a website that's as awesome as our show.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Trevor, for being on the show. That was very insightful. I'm sorry you have to watch the Flames for another 70-plus games because, if you're losing, it's no fun. But at least you get to hopefully see
Hey, Edmonton knows what that's like, and Buffalo now knows what that's like, and Arizona knows what it's like. They don't even have someone to actually follow. And can I just say, unfortunately, Flames fans, I mean, nothing more than I would love to see that team ready to go. Get a couple good draft picks, one or two in the first couple rounds this year and next year. You guys did it before when you got the Monahans. Yeah, a couple, you get the Goodrows and the Kachucks. And so, but this is what you need to do. You need to you probably didn't hear that. You just need to just put the gun to it, kill the season, and just enjoy the individual play. So speaking from someone who had to watch over a decade of darkness, what you do is you follow the development of the young guys or a couple of the older guys who you love, focus on their specific games because hockey is exciting even for losing teams. If you're not, but if all you have to do is, and winning is everything, then you're going to struggle, right? Enjoy the losing, because it will bring something back unless you're mid. And that's my concern, Pawel, for the Calgary Flames. If they're only mid.
I forgot to mention one more prospect that's kind of played already a bit, but I'm a big fan of him in the trade they got him, is Hunter Brzgiewicz. Not only is because he's got a Polish last name, but also the guy has been phenomenal for the Wranglers. I mean, I think he's got 8 points right now, 4 goals, 4 assists, and he's a defenseman. He's a big guy. I like him a lot. He has been highly touted. He's not going to be, a top 2 defenseman, but top 4, bottom 6 guy. He can really fill in that role, penalty kill. He's going to be very useful, kind of a Swiss Army knife, as what's his name? The GM used to say. Now the GM's name is escaping me.
Brian Burke.
Brian Burke.
Okay. Okay. No, definitely makes sense with it. So. I think it's good. By the way, I'm not going to question you on when you have a Polish name. I won't even question you. I will not argue with you. And if you guys don't know, there might be a reason that Pawel would know how to enunciate those names better than even the announcers themselves. Okay.
Right, we got some NHL news to get to. So there's quite a bit going on right now. Where did you want to start? Do you want to talk about Sid the Kid, who's not a kid anymore?
Yeah, let's do that. Love to talk a little bit more about this specifically. And there's a reason, guys, is because I think what a lot of people have actually missed in understanding with Sid the Kid is that this guy does nothing but impress. And I know we talk about him. See, I feel like this year we talk about him every show but he's definitely, worthy of it. I want you guys to think, fourth fastest player to ever record 1,700 points in his career. He did it in 1,362 games. But this is what's crazy. At 39 years old, he's outperformed Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux at the same age. He has a better points per game and ability on the ice than the two greatest offensive talents to ever lace up the skates in NHL hockey. I mean, it is amazing that it's not just, it's to have the longevity. Even Gordie Howe wasn't like that at this age. He is probably the first of his kind to do it. I mean, now Ovechkin isn't far off from being that scoreless wonder, minimum 30 goal, 35 goal season at his age. You name it. And if I can just say this, he's as effective as he was during their cup runs still. Yeah. And then the other thing, when I'm thinking of some impressive stats, Bud, is McDavid became the fourth fastest player to get 1,100 career points. Only one game short of beating Mike Bossy, and the only other two are Gretzky and Lemieux. I mean, now, of course, it's eluding him those cups, and everyone's going to hold it on him. But 100%. When you're just talking about the excitement of the game and players, I've enjoyed watching Crosby these last couple of years, even without him being in the playoffs. But all I can say is it's putting these two guys in hockey's Hall of Fame very early, even though they won't go in. And can I say one thing? I hope that Crosby doesn't go into the Hockey Hall of Fame early and then come out of retirement. I like it when they stay and say, I'm retired.
Well, I agree with you. I think also we'll get to the next topic here, but we have somebody, Jaromir Jagr, who continues to play, and he should already be in the Hall of Fame, but he was at the Rangers game recently, 2 nights ago, I believe it was. So that man will not be stopped. I think that man will go when he passes away. That's how dedicated he is to the craft. So very impressive there. Now, speaking of Connor McDavid, the Edmonton Oilers have been kind of on a roller coaster. Now, everyone knows this is the yearly October-November slump they go through, but it seems like goaltending still seems to be a big problem. And the problem this year is that Pickard is not picking up the slack that Stuart Skinner has not been able to kind of settle down. So your thoughts on Stuart Skinner so far with the Edmonton Oilers, because Edmonton seems to get a lead and then lose the lead. And it seems like it used to be said the 3-goal lead is not safe. Well, for Edmonton, it's a 2-goal lead. That doesn't seem safe. Dallas, great club, but you can't lose to St. Louis in the way you did. Your thoughts on that? And will there be a goalie change? Because I'm hearing pleased that there will.
So on the goalie change, I honestly don't get a good read because I don't understand the management these last years. I get they don't have the money. They've decided to put the money in other places by paying guys in third line and second line D and stuff, like high end prices. They've chosen to go this method, so they have little money. I've always said you keep a certain chunk of money for every area for it. Maybe borrow a little bit from the other department, but man, to only have, like, what do they got right now? Like under $5 million in goaltending. I mean, that
I think it's like 3.5 because what's it called? Stewart's 2.5 and Pickard's like $1 million.
I thought he was 3 something. Stewart was.
Oh, so was he? Okay.
Yeah, but even then, so say 4.5, right? You have these guys, and I've been okay with Pickard. I'm not like, I know these early games, the whole team is playing bad. McDavid, even though he's getting the points, is not playing good. Draisaitl, while he's getting the goals, I don't feel his game.
$2.6 million for Stuart Skinner.
2.6 for oh my gosh, less than $4 million. You're getting what you pay for right now. And I'm not talking in new standards. I'm talking in the old standards even. So let me just say this. I stood behind Stu. They got some goaltending. Pete Aubrey came in. They're working on some dynamics. I do want to acknowledge a couple things because I've been vocal on X last year. I've been off. This is the first time anyone's hearing me say anything about Stu Skinner this year now. Today's the first day I've opened up on it. And again, I love the guy. I think he's an incredible guy. Last year, he had a new kid. That helps. That plays with you. Cam Talbot, same thing happened. Once he had a year in, it's a mental game. He's got a new goaltending coach. People complained about Schwartz. We got Pete Aubrey. He's done some great things. But can we just be honest, and I don't care what you want to stand by, Stu Skinner, okay, below 900, like we're dealing with an 889 percentage, and he's got this many games under his belt already this season. Now, he's got some really good saves, but I'm tired of you telling me a goalie's good because you saw some good saves. A goalie saves the clutch goal. A goalie
Yeah.
doesn't let teams back in over and over and over. He's got to find a way to stand on his head then, not just when it's tied, but when he also needs to get caught up and or when he needs to hold the lead. Now, it's not just him. I mean, Evan Bouchard and Darnell Nurse have been a mess. But, guys,
Even
he's still...
Ekholm.
But the goalie has to save 90% of those, minimum. And they can't get it out of either goalie. This is going into the same thing. This is not changing. Don't give me any excuses. Guys, right now on a bad team, well, maybe they're kind of okay. Chicago's not going to stay where they are. I do not believe that. But Spencer Knight is dealing with a .937 percentage. If you look at Alex Lyon down in Buffalo or over in Buffalo at .923, Joey Decord, .915. Do you notice I didn't take the elite of the elite? There are some elite like Hellebuck and a few, Joel Ottinger. A few of them are struggling, Pawel. But here's the difference. They're always consistent, and they have a lot of time to turn that around early season. But Skinner has never been consistent being over 900, except for his rookie year. That was it. And so I don't know what they're going to do. I'm not the one solving it, and no matter how much I think about it, they're not going to do what I think. So, and right now, their answer is not down in the minors right now because Ingram is not having a great start. So, right, they're a mess, and they're going to have to get rid of something good to bring in something good. But
100%. And Lost Trucker says that fur factor makes important saves to keep him ahead. Now, one thing I wanted to note is that so far this season, in 212 games played across the league, because they keep stats on this.
Okay.
Hockeyreference.com. The average save percentage across the league is .897 and 2.86 goals against. Now, Stuart Skinner defenders will say, well, he's at 8.99 and at 2.54. So he's given them a chance to win every night. But the problem is that sometimes analytics doesn't always tell the whole story, Evan. And sometimes you need that clutch saves. And he, I believe, just struggles with that odd clutch saves. I understand the odd goal going in here and there and a defensive lap, but there's been a few too many, especially since there's such a big spotlight on Edmonton, given what McDavid sacrificed in order for this team to stay competitive. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I still see a move coming potentially. I know Bowman said by January. I think it'll be sooner. We know what American Thanksgiving means, but really something's got to give. Otherwise, the team is not going to have a deep run again.
So something interesting. Stu Skinner said he would like to play for Team Canada. Stewie, love you, man. I dreamed of one day playing for an NHL team, but it'll never happen. This season, anyway. For
every goalie for Team Canada right now is struggling. Bennington, Hill, all those. Montembeault.
Yeah. So if I could say this though, Connor McDavid didn't give them a deal this year. It's next year. So the Oilers have 1 year to make good on it to see if they can do something. Anyway, let's get away from the Oilers, man. They're a hot mess.
We talked about standings. So it looks like the 4 division leaders so far right now, and of course things change as we speak, is Montreal, New Jersey, Colorado, and Anaheim. We know Colorado is a beast. Montreal, pleasant surprise, even though we knew they'd push for a playoff spot. New Jersey, well, they're healthy. We know they're a good team in the Metro. But Anaheim has come out of nowhere. Your quick thoughts on that, because right behind them are teams like Pittsburgh, which we talked about last week, and Detroit Red Wings, which it finally seems like the Yzerman plan has paid off. Your thoughts?
The Yzer plan. Well, again, we always like to joke about our one of our regular guests, Michael Devellano, the U.S. head scout for the Everett Silvertips in the WHL of the Canadian Hockey League. He loves following the Oilers and the Red Wings. So at least right now he might be a little happier about some of that going on. It's Anaheim. It makes sense. Everyone's been talking about them bumping up, and going somewhere. Goaltending has been good, and their defense is starting to get a lot more solid. They've always had players up front. I mean, Troy Terry still ripping it up. I mean, it's so good to see that, 5 years later, he's still doing his thing after he got that contract. So I appreciate it. And Montreal, I'll talk a little bit more about them a little bit later on when we kind of cover more on the Montreal Canadiens, more in depth. But I did not expect this early. Very good for them though, because say for another 2 weeks they're up there. Well, even if they drop to 650 hockey or something, that could be your shoe in for your playoffs already, right? Get your early start.
It's good to have an early start. I think Winnipeg had a really strong start last year. I think they were very strong. I think they went like 6-0-2, and then they could just coast the rest of the way playing 500 hockey, and they still ended up winning the President's Trophy, and that's how successful they were because of that strong start. So never discount a strong start. And teams that are like, I believe, above more than 4 points out of the playoff spot right now, it's very hard to get back in. So there could be the panic index by the end of November for a lot of clubs already. So we'll see what happens. But speaking of some clubs, the Team Canada is starting to plan out the rosters now. A lot of paperwork, people don't really see this. And I just wanted to note this for fans because sometimes you don't know this. Players have to get their passports ready. Players have to know and to get an invitation. They have to take the time off. They have to prepare to be able to go. But it seems like one of the players that may not be invited to this year's Team Canada camp is Connor Bedard. And it sounds like Macklin Celebrini, according to Kyprios, may have a leg up just because of how well he's been scoring. So, Evan, do you want to kind of just talk about how he's been getting the short end of the stick in relation to what it is?
Yeah, and of course, as you guys see, we're pretty good at our hockey references when it comes to pucks and sticks and, you name it. Because we always say, keep your stick on the ice. But what do you do, Pawel, if it's too short and you're getting the short end? But so Connor Bedard right now is playing like a man possessed. A lot of comments come on X and Facebook and some different social media places, but most of those are even on message boards. But what most of them, they don't follow these guys intently. They're not close up. All they see is highlights, or they just have assumptions that they make about these players. Right now, they are neck and neck at what they're providing. The only difference that you're going to have right now is Macklin Celebrini. Many believe he could be more well-rounded if you need to put him on a lower line, like a fourth line, and still be productive. Some people think Bedard could not, and I'm actually going to tell you that I don't believe that to be true, because this is the Olympics. This is not the NHL. Very different. You add his new increased speed, the larger size, more space, just that little bit of space, man, and he's going to make the difference. He's lighting it up now. He is the number one on their team. There's a couple points difference, but his plus minus this year has gone through the roof, and his defense is excellent. But you know what? To me, it's a shoe-in, though, for Macklin Celebrini. October, he wins Player of the Month for the entire NHL. So, Celebrini, how do you not put him in? But my question is who do you take out, Pawel? Like, right now, I'll tell you, everyone wants to talk about the Four Nations. Yeah, but that's only one. So here's another player that I don't think deserves to be there, because like Hyman's not going now. It's too late coming back. Yeah. I can't see them still taking. I think it's ridiculous to put Hyman in there because of his chemistry. You don't know what you're getting or not, unless they say, well, then we'll throw a Bedard or a Macklin or someone in there as a backup if he doesn't make it. But the reason is Hyman hasn't earned it. I really don't believe that. Sanheim
is my one other one that I would pull out. I like Sanheim.
So who'd you say?
Travis Sanheim.
Okay, on defense, yeah. But here's another one. I would consider taking Sam Reinhart out. I don't think he's played that kind of year yet. So Bennett and Reinhart. And let me give you one more that I would put both Bedard and I know some people are going to.
Well, Stone's not going because he's injured. So you've got a spot right there.
Are you in front of me? So can you pull up right now the stats for the Tampa Bay Lightning? Okay. So first of all, Hagel and Cirelli, they're not both going to be there. That's not going to happen this year at the Olympics. But everyone talks about Braden Point. Now, I haven't followed. Tampa is one team I just haven't got the time in right now. But I will tell you that I would take out Point. I would have no problem taking out Point for one of those two. Say Point in a Bennett. If you already
Point in 13 games has 3 goals, 6 assists, and minus 10.
See, that's a bad season for him.
Yeah.
I know Tampa's struggling also because some of these guys are not performing. So I don't care if Cooper's the coach. Enough of this favoritism because you know them. This is the Olympics. Do not cost people their jobs. And by the way, I just want to send a shout out to everyone that's on here right now. Just a heads up. just because we have a little bit of time. I just want to mention, guys, all of our wonderful sponsors. So Puckpedia, Hart Levine should be on next week or two. Our intro and outro songs called Invincible from Penny Billionaires Hard Rock Band. The Flow Hockey, you guys want to follow hockey? Follow Flow Hockey, as well as the Pro Hockey Group. If you like to check out all the players, their stats, their scouting reports, the Pro Hockey Group with Jason Bacala's group, you'll love it. You need a website. JR Web Designs, incredibly good deal. They run our site for us. And then you want to follow some good senior men's semi-pro hockey, check out the Northern Michigan Warhounds. Yeah.
Can I just make a comment? Lost Trucker says players always have an active passport. That's crazy statement. What I meant to say, because that's part of it, and they don't always have them up to date because they do expire, is the fact that when they are attending official sanctioned events from North America, so Canada and the US, they might need to have a travel permit for their Hockey Home Association to ensure insurance is covered. That's what I mean. Things like that need to be provided before anything can proceed, right? Insurance is key because these are players that the IIHF and the Olympic Committee is not going to cover. So you need to be able to protect your assets.
There is on the passport, and you kind of hit on it. So Lost Trucker too. The other thing is your passport it can't just be expiring like a month after. I believe it has to be a certain period of time.
6 months or more.
Yeah, there has to be a certain amount, and some players don't pay attention because in North America, it's easy to travel back and forth between it. So there has been
people on teams that manage that quickly.
International. But yeah, but what she's saying is a lot of that happens internationally, probably from guys that aren't in the NHL wanting to go from other teams, and they don't have their passports because they play within the season, right? So
for sure. Well, we've talked enough ad nauseum about that, so we're going to get into Around the Rink. All right, Evan, you wanted to lead us somewhere with Around the Rink because there's quite a bit of news happening in the WHL.
Yeah, well, there's quite a bit, but there was really one thing that I kind of wanted to just kind of stand out because we've been always talking about the transfer between the NCAA, stuff like that goes on an ongoing basis. But one of the gentlemen, now he actually plays for Red Deer Rebels. His name is Ole Josephson. He was drafted. He played 5 games, I believe, in Red Deer. He had no points in that time. And then he was able to go to the University of North Dakota. So he signed with them. And guess what? He's been a 4th-line center. Sometimes he's not played. Now, University of North Dakota will develop and take a lot of time on development, more than a lot of universities. And that might be one of the reasons. But essentially, how are you developing as a 4th-line center with even fewer games when you didn't even have that kind of pedigree before you even went there? Like, it's one thing if you went straight, say, from a BCHL after you were hit 18 and you moved up from all your other leagues, but really, were you really ready? And I think a lot of players are kind of in the same boat, and you're going to continue to hear of players that, number one, they can't keep up with the academia. They're going to struggle with that. They're not going to like how hard it is. Some of the rules in university, we've talked about this before, probably ad nauseum, but you're also going to find players feeling they're not utilized and then coming back to the CHL. So again, give this about another, I'm going to say we need this year and one more year, and we're going to see everything smoothing out by that time.
Excellent. And in the SHL, one prospect that we wanted to highlight are Detroit Red Wings' Jonathan Bergeron for the Skellefteå AIK, who's been heating it up. He's got 4 goals in his last 3 games, so 7 goals and 5 assists in 11 games. His kind of aggressive net presence drives that echo of what he did in the AHL in 2023-2024. Yzerman called it a breakout mode for him about an interview he did on November 1st. As well as Boston's Victor Berglund from he notched 2 assists on November 3rd, tying 4th among SHL defensemen in points. So, some prospects that people like Detroit should get excited, especially with that mentality of next man up. Things are coming. Before you get to your next topic, I did want to just mention that the AHL also announced they had some recent changes in management. Stephen Thompson has been promoted to the vice president of hockey operation, while Jeff Jordan has been named director of hockey operations and central registry, along with Michael Derriman, who's been promoted to senior manager, and Shannon Churas has been promoted to manager hockey operations. So we wish them all the best in their roles. A lot of these guys oftentimes will come in and transition over to the NHL and look for other lucrative positions. And we wish them all the best. And if they want to be on the show, reach out to us because we love to have you on and talk all things hockey. Now, you wanted to get into something of off-ice buzz.
Yeah, so just a heads up, everyone, so you can recognize the skill and the talent when players from your favorite NHL teams, or for those that are actually kind of hockey nerds and follow a lot in Europe, yet you're from North America, as we have most of 96% of all of our folks are from North America somewhere. And so currently we have, I think we're at 49% and 48 or 47% between Canada and the US, and the rest are over in parts of Europe. We don't have a lot of Swedes. That's interesting. We got more in Russia that have gone through and got through the IP addresses to get and watch us than we have in Sweden. So come on, if you're Swedish, send some news back home. Let them know. Anyway, the Swedish Hockey League has reaffirmed its number 3. For a while there, they had dropped, but they are number 3 ranking behind the NHL and KHL as global ranking as the best professional organizations. It was done by the Hockey Writers. And so this just came out yesterday. And the reason is they credit talent coming out of there, like Elias Pettersson. And then if you actually think about some of the other Swedes that have come out of there that have played there over the time, Anton Lundell, we're seeing Anton Frundell even this year doing quite well. And so they've had a lot of development. It is a very good league. So if your players aren't like the best players and they're just like 18 to 19 years old, just give it time. They are the number 3 league in the world.
Fair enough. And Lost Trucker says, why can't I still watch SHL on Flow? Boo-hoo-hoo-hoo.
So that's a great question. I told Lost Trucker I would try to look into it, and I have sent news in. So Flow has not responded back. My next guy, I'm thinking I might contact Chris Peters, who we follow one another on X. Maybe I can get through into his DM box or something. We'll see. I think he gets thousands of them, but my emails have not been returned by Flow Hockey. So they're one of our partners. So guys, if anyone's listening, I want to give you a good name. So get back to me so I can understand why we're no longer on Flow Hockey watching the SHL when it says that it's mentioned, but it says not in our area. But last season, we were getting it early on. So, yeah, great point.
We'll try to get to it when we can. And this has been Around the Rink. All right, we're getting to the nightcap of the show. So let's get into the Montreal Canadiens.
So nightcap, are you serious? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I got 9 teams to talk about, and I was going to talk about my junior top 15. Oh my gosh. We're not getting through this all. We're going to have to prioritize this.
Okay, well, you wanted to talk about Montreal early in the show, so why don't you
let's do it.
There?
Okay, let's start there. I'm a believer. Can I just say that? I'm a believer in Lane. I'm a believer in Lane Hudson. I did not buy into last year. I said I need more time. I know it's a short period into the season. I am now confessing because, guys, it is time to talk about Lane Hudson right here from Renaerts. And the reason is 13 games in, he's still got 13 points. Now, he can't score goals, so don't expect him to score goals. But he'll set up all the plays and get everybody open. Yeah, but get this. Let me give you a comparable. Over his first 97 career NHL games, okay? Comparable in the modern era since the millennia. In 97 career games, the most goals, most points scored over by Cale Makar at 85. Lane Hudson, in his first 97 career games, has only 4 points less at 81 points. That's it. And right behind him is Hughes at 78 who follows him by 3 points. These are crazy numbers. It is time to say that I have jumped on the lane. Let's just call it, I'm going to call it the lane boat. The lane boat. Or the lane train. Yeah, maybe that's good. The lane train. I'm a believer in him. And then I actually think both of us are going to be wrong on our rookie, because the way things are going, I actually see Demidov running off with this rookie trophy this year.
Well, I don't know if Schaefer's making a run for it, so I like what
she's making a run for it. Oh, whatever.
He's ahead in points.
Too much hype. Too much hype, buddy. Too much hype. Did you see him get beat like a rented dog the other day?
I did. We talked about it, but that's Zadorov.
No, we didn't talk about it.
Yes, we did. We talked about it with, what's it called, Trevor. I mentioned it.
Oh, no, you talked about the hit. Yeah. You were talking about the hit. I meant he got beat, not like... No.
Oh, yeah.
I get it. You thought I meant beat up. I meant he was flat-footed when he got beat by a couple plays there in the game just the other day. So interesting. I always find that everyone likes to take highlights, but they miss the actual learning lessons.
100%.
So, and guys, I'm just trying to cool the Jets, just like I did with Lane. Hey, he might have a way better year, but I still think that he is not going to be sustainable past about 40 games, what he's doing. Whereas a guy like Lane continued through the entire season and into the next season. And so I think he definitely is a number one defenseman, but he gets all his points. Go check out his points. They're all coming in on the power play. So you be a little careful with my caution to fans if you actually want to push him as how great he is at scoring.
For sure. So where else do you want to go? Do you want to get into Seattle Kraken and Jake O'Brien?
No, we can leave that one off. Can we just talk about the Hurricanes for a moment?
Sure.
So what is your thought here? We opened up with Trevor here, and Trevor was telling us with Calgary, we were talking about Kadri. So the Hurricanes seem to be, by what we're hearing, and that's from people like Friedman, 32 Thoughts, that the Hurricanes are on his no-trade list. Now, let's recognize, everyone likes to talk about Rantanen not signing there because they wanted too much money and all. Not true. Not true at all. It's been proven absolutely 100% wrong. He had no interest in signing there. I think I got something in my lighting. Something's going crazy behind me with me saying this. Not true. Not true.
The ghost of Rob Brindamore.
But what do you think's happening with the Hurricanes where players like Kadri or Rantanen, actually, because there's a lot of players that love it there. So what could it be with these other players that they don't want to play? Do you think they just want to be in?
It's been pretty well detailed in terms of the shock he had from leaving Colorado, because he really thought he'd go to Colorado. And we did talk about how Martin Necas just signed a little bit under with what especially Rantanen was supposed to get. But really, he was a bit shocked, and maybe he just wasn't as big of a fan of the systems that Rob Brindamore is playing. That's fair. I don't think it's necessarily.
No, he didn't want to live in Carolina. That's now known fact. I actually have proof from someone who's best friends with him now.
So maybe he didn't want to, and that's perfectly fine. Kadri has a 13-team no-trade list. So, I mean, he's get to picks where he doesn't want to go. And clearly he doesn't want to go play there. But that's only
But why? But why? Like, we're speculating on here, obviously. I don't want you to beat around the bush. I want you to call this out.
I think it's just the systems. I think it's the systems and that they play, right? Like only.
So you think it's systems in Carolina that he doesn't want to play? Yeah. You don't think it's about the city or the non-hockey market or anything like that?
I think Carolina looks like a beautiful city. I've never been. I would like to go, but I don't think it's anything to do with that. I've never heard otherwise from other players why they want to go. But I mean, there's a lot of personal reasons that we may not be privy to as to why people don't want to go there. Zilcher said it could have something to do with family for Kadri. I agree. Maybe it's uprooting your family when your kids are in school. Like, there's a lot of factors that go into it.
And I do hear that I don't think there's any Canadian team that's on his no-trade list. Interesting.
I mean, he's played in Toronto and in and
Colorado
now. So, I mean, really.
So, I mean, he'd be open to Vancouver. Obviously, Edmonton's not going to, they can't afford him anyway. But he's not going to say no to having a contending team.
Well,
and then Ottawa sounds like he's open to.
The Vancouver thing, like you can't afford him. You could always afford him if you make it work. We just talked about how Vegas makes anything work. So you said it yourself that like they make anything work.
Okay. Let's go to your argument then, because you're trying to disqualify when I said no to Edmonton. Did they trade? Listen, did Edmonton want Noah Hannafin?
Did they want him? I don't know. I'm sure they would have loved him.
Well, man, you must forget our show. We had facts on this. They wanted Hannafin. They would not trade him. It didn't matter the price. They were willing to pay more. They would not trade him. Calgary didn't trade Noah Hannafin. They are not trading Nazem Kadri, no matter the price. And if there was a price, it would be so ridiculous high you'd never pay for that. You're not giving up something to your team to get something that isn't going to make you better. So,
all right. Well,
in essence, that's a part of the overall picture, buddy.
Okay. Well, I mean, I still think he'll move, but again, things do change. Trevor tunes in, says wanted Tanev too, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I agree. Tanev, he's a beast. I mean, I worry about his concussion, but
they did want Tanev.
Injury with Mitchkov, but. And it looked like an innocuous play. Now, quickly before we end, because we're wrapping up, and I know you wanted to get into your Revs top 15.
Yeah, we're going to leave the Revs top 15. Let's hit 2 more teams, then we'll call it a wrap.
Did you watch the game between the Nashville Predators and the Minnesota Wild? Because that was one of the wildest endings to an overtime that I've ever seen, where the net was dislodged, even though the puck was going into the net, and they counted the goal, even though I didn't think they should have. Even if the goalie did move the post, because then it would just be a penalty of a delay of game. Your thoughts on the play?
Okay, so this is, well, number one, I didn't actually watch the game. I only caught the highlights, and I was like, are you serious? Because I saw some cues. And so I went back, put the game on, rewound. So I took 5 minutes before, watched the piece. I don't understand what is going on. And I know we actually went over something that earlier. So, do you remember the game just a couple games ago? I forget. I think it was at the Kraken. One of the players, I don't know if it was Henrique or an Oiler player, got cut in the lip, and they gave him only 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? So,
yes.
Listen, I actually went in. So, I specifically actually went in and I actually looked because I wanted to get an idea. And the double, like I pulled up the rules. The rules are not suggest. Maybe it's not really much of a cut. That's what they said. It wasn't enough to actually garner a 2 minute. There was blood. I don't care if there's an ounce of blood. It's still blood. And it says that if their stick is above their shoulder, which it was, and they didn't disagree with that it is automatic. And it's stated in it, and they still. So does it even matter, these refs anymore? They don't call by the rules. And they might decided to call a goal. The puck, I mean, what was it? 4 seconds later? Sure felt like it.
Yeah.
And the net was off twice.
It wasn't going in. He kind of just tapped it after to go in after the whistle had blown. And then that's when the whole kerfuffle happened. So I don't know. I think a play like that, again, it's not meaningful. Minnesota as
no penalty though, right? Like the other team got mad. Do you remember when was it who was the Ottawa player that slapped? Was it Connor Brown back then, or who was it? Slapped the puck into the
Ridley Glegg slapped the puck in the net,
the other team
Morgan Riley went after him and cross-checked him in the head and got 5 games.
Yeah, and they get mad at that. So you might as well get mad at smacking the net and the puck.
Well, no, they got mad at the cross-check by Morgan Riley. That's why he got
But you can go cross-check and take Ridley into the corner and do what you want because he slapped the puck into an empty net. It's just like, come on. To me, you might as well allow it. That's more a psychological piece, that part of the game, when the game was still going strong. It wasn't like an end of game kind of a play. I guess what I'm saying is I'm okay with actually cross-checking them and doing whatever because it seems like everything is fair game. Kind of annoyed.
On that note, we're going to wrap up our show after another lively discussion. Thank you so much for Trevor for tuning in. Make sure to go follow his stuff. It's been great. Once again, we are here every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on Twitter/X, on Instagram, on Facebook, and on YouTube. Make sure to give us a follow, leave us a like. It greatly helps us and grows the channel. We thank you so much to all our sponsors and our website. We've got articles up there regularly. We've got one from Grant Cummings about the recent Bruins 500. Thank you to all our partners. We're going to have Hart Levine on the show soon coming up. Penny Billionaires, Flow Hockey, Pro Hockey Group, Northern Michigan Warren House, and JR Web Designs, and Puckpedia. Any final words before we wrap up, Evan, for another phenomenal show?
Yes, I just want to say, if you haven't been watching, watch Miro Heiskanen of the Dallas Stars. Only him and Cale Makar and Quinn Hughes are fast enough to stop Connor McDavid. And Heiskanen literally made McDavid look ridiculously slow last night when you watch that overtime. I mean, all throughout the game. So, guys, watch him. Miro is underrated. He is underrated, I tell you. One of the best defensemen in the league.
And on that note, in the meantime and in between time,
keep your sticks on the ice.
Stay safe.
Cheers.
Have a good night. We appreciate you guys. See you next week.